morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's your girl ChucTayyy, and I am here with your RETV Sports Break. You can catch me here every Thursday, talking junk, spitting facts. Let's get started. So, we have a little bit of catching up to do. You didn't get an episode last week, sorry. But a lot of basketball things have been happening, so let's just get started. Number one on the list, Candace Parker went back to Chicago, did exactly what she said she was going to do, and now the Chicago Sky have the first franchise Wnba championship under their belt. Kudos to them. Candace went home. It gave me LeBron went back to Cleveland, and I'm going to do this, and the other thing. Not comparing her to LeBron before somebody jumps down my throat. But she said when she got home, she wanted to bring a chip. That's exactly what she did. First franchise victory. That's exciting. Not only that, on top of that, James Wade is now the third Black male coach to win a WNBA championship. So lots of history going on, history in the making. That is, so of course, again, Chicago Sky defeat the Phoenix Mercury. Lots of emotions during the game. Diana Taurasi gets a tech like within pretty early in the first quarter. Quigley, who is a member of the Sky, has 26 points, and she has had a very interesting WNBA journey. If you don't know Quigley, look her up. But basically, she actually started her career out with the Mercury and was cut. I think the final number was like 6 times in total from different WNBA teams before she gets picked up by the Sky. 26 points in the final game with averaging 13 on the year. So she had a pretty good series, pretty good year. Of course, Candace Parker comes in, like we said, hometown hero. She gets a chip, 16 points. So big deal. Parade looked amazing. Congratulations to the Sky. Also, while I was gone, the NBA put out a list of the top 75 players of all time. Now, honestly, they should have just called this the top 50 list plus 26. And it's 26 because there was actually a tie somewhere in that mix. So it's really 76 players instead of 75. But they should have just said it's top 50 plus these extra folks is what they should have said. Because one, I think it would have created less of a stir. So here's what happened. Of course, on the list, you have players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of course, right? But some players that were left off of the list, Dwight Howard, who is not happy. Klay Thompson, who also not happy, but seems to be a little less perturbed than some others. Tracy McGrady. There's still some rumors circling around what happened with Kyrie Irving. They're saying he was on it, but then that he was like quietly taken off because of, his anti-vax or whatever campaign he's on right now with Vaccine Gate. But so there's a snub there. So PG doesn't make it. There's a lot of snubs that happen here. So people are up in arms. What I have to say about it, I don't agree with the list in total. I also feel the same way about this list as I do about the All-NBA teams. And if you're unfamiliar with what happened there, last season we talked about this. And basically, it's a lot of media people voting. There were some players and there were some coaches that voted. Of course, the NBA is not revealing who exactly voted for who and like what the percentages were. Like, LeBron got this many votes and, Kareem got this many votes. Like, they're not going to give us those types of details. But I always would like to know who exactly voted for these things. And it is out there in the universe somewhere. What is the criteria for this? Because for players like, now listen, I am not the biggest Dwight Howard fan. Used to be, not so much anymore. Part of me feels like he doesn't go on the list, not because he's not one of the greatest players. I use that term very loosely, I think. He's not a top, it's not that he's not a top caliber player. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not that he's not a top caliber player. I think some of his other antics on and off the court maybe deterred people from voting for him as much as we might think that they should. So it's to me, it's always interesting to see and hear things like this where it's like, oh, the media voted, and then players and coaches and things like that, because it's like there's a bunch of Lakers on the list, there's a bunch of Timberwolves on the list. I mean, there's a lot of people, right? But for a player like Tracy McGrady, you don't put Tracy McGrady on there. You know, like, again, Dwight Howard, even though I don't love him, there was a point in time, if people remember, that like when LeBron first comes in, it's like, oh, well, like, who's really the greatest player right now, Dwight Howard or LeBron James? I thought it was a stupid argument when it happened, but at the time, Dwight Howard, at like his peak, at his prime, at his Superman level, top caliber player. So it's like, what is the criteria? Did somebody give them a sheet and say, hey, 5 points for charisma and 10 points for stats and, you know, another 5 points for box scores? And like, what is it? What is it? So again, a plethora of players left off the list, because obviously you have however many active players in the NBA at present, and then you have inactive players, you have players that are retired. And again, they really should have prefaced this entire thing with the top 50 list. That doesn't change. So all we really had to vote for was 25 of y'all. It's not like you came up with a new 75 in total. But who am I? I'm just a podcast host. What we call this, a podcast? A web show. I'm a web show host. I have a communications degree and I'm in HR. So what do I know? Who am I? Who knows? Last but not least, and this will also count as our bright spot, Dawn Staley, who I have loved since forever, is now the highest paid Black coach in women's basketball, but also one of the highest paid coaches in the sport, Black, white, male, or female. Not the highest paid, one of the highest paid. I don't want you guys misquoting me. But one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. My girl just signed a 7-year contract with USC, with the University of South Carolina. $22.4 million. God, dog. Woo! Again, been loving Dawn Staley since the beginning of time. Like, USA jersey, Dawn Staley. She's fiery, right? She's fiery. Her sneaker game is legit. But what she has done for that program, right, completely turned it around. Of course, she gets her start off at Temple. So she just deserves. She turned both of those programs around. So one, to be a Black woman coach at a predominantly white institution, that's a big deal. Her career just in general, like just her before we even get to coaching, phenomenal. And then what she has done for both programs has really just been instrumental for coaching, for Black women coaches, for women coaches. So congrats to her. I was so excited to hear that, because it's good to see a woman, most importantly for moi, a Black woman, getting her due, and not getting snubbed because, again, woman, and most importantly for moi, Black woman. So congratulations to Dawn Staley. Congratulations to the Chicago Sky. There are other things coming this season, guys, or for the rest of the season. Again, it is basketball season. Things are moving. Fights are happening. But these were the 3 most important things that I thought happened in the last week, and then while I was gone last week. But next week we'll talk football. The World Series is happening. Football is still happening out in the universe, and it's coming. Things are coming. But that's it for me this week, guys. I'm your girl, ChucTayyy. You can catch me here every Thursday, talking junk, spitting facts. See you later.